Hi guys, this is Mr. Kane with a super quick video. This one's called one-step equations. So here is a equation that we have here. Let me rewrite it as you are as well. 19 plus n equals 30, and this is from Khan Academy, the free resource that we use in class. And what this equation is telling us is that 19 plus some number will be equal to 30. And in algebra, we know that in equations that this entire side has to equal this entire side. So whatever you plug in there for n has to make this equation make sense. And we can sit here and think about it and plug in numbers and actually come up with one that makes sense. But I want to teach you another method, another way of doing this, which when these get a little bit more difficult with fractions, decimals, and whatnot, it'll be a lot easier. It's called properties of equality. So here's how that works. Since you have a positive 19 on this side, and ultimately we want n, that variable, to be by itself. N equals something, right? We want to solve for n. All we have to do is the opposite of whatever that is, and we'll undo the problem and come to our solution. So what is the opposite of positive 19? It's negative 19 or minus 19. So I'm going to do this. I'm just going to subtract 19 from this side. Now watch this. 19 minus 19 is 0. So now we have n by itself. Now we can't stop there though. Whatever we do to one side of an equation, we have to do to the other side. Remember, we learned that equations are kind of like a balance, a scale. You don't want to upset the apple cart, take 19 off this side and leave it alone. It'll be unequal, which is not what we want, right? So subtract 19 from 30. 30 minus 19 is 11. Now, if we plug 11 back in there, 19 plus 11, we can test this out. And we can see that 19 plus 11 does, in fact, equal 30. Let's do a few more. This one's a subtraction problem. So 12 equals some number minus 9. Some number minus 9 will equal 12. So again, we can look at this, we can plug numbers in, we can try to figure it out that way, or we can use what I like to do, which is properties of equality. So if I want to get n by itself, over here like n equals something, that's my variable. Let's look what's attached to n. We have this minus 9. So let's undo the problem by doing the opposite. What's the opposite of minus 9? If you said plus 9, you are on the right track. So plus 9, we'll wipe this side out, because 9 minus 9 is 0. Plus 9 minus 9 cancels. But we're not done yet. We need to add 9 to this side. Whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. So 12 plus 9, that equals 21. Now we can test this out, as I said before. We can plug 21 back into our equation and see if this makes sense. So if I plug 21 in here, 21 minus 9, whoops, yes, we are correct, equals 12. Now, does it work with multiplication and division? You betcha. We got 2 equals some number divided by 8. Divided by 8. So remember, fractions, this is glorified division. Don't worry about that. So we have some number divided by equals 2. And again, we can plug a number in here and see if it makes sense. But let's do properties of equality, just for good time's sake. So since it's division, what's the opposite of division? If you said multiplication, you're right. So if I multiply this side by 8, let's call it 8 over 1 so you can see a little bit more clearly. 8 will divide out 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1, which will cancel. It's also called cross-canceling. So the 8s will cancel each other, and you'll have f by itself. Now, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side, people. So I'm going to multiply this side by 8 as well. So 8 times 2 is 16. But, is this correct? Well, let's find out. Let's go ahead and plug it in. If I take a 16 and I plug it in here, 16 divided by 8, does that equal 2? It does. So I am correct. And last but not least, we have a multiplication problem. We have 2 times some number equals 5. 2 times some number equals 5. So properties of equality tells us what? It tells us the opposite operation will undo our problem. So since this is 2 times d, I want d by itself, don't I? What's the opposite of multiplication? If you said division, again, bingo, you are correct. We'll divide this side by 2, divide this side by 2. Now, why does this make sense? Because 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1d. We don't have to write 1d, though. We just write d. So d equals 5 over 2, which could be your answer. Or you can take this, divide 2 into 5 to get a mixed number, which goes 2 whole times, with 1 left over out of 2. Either of these answers is correct. But just remember, when you are using properties of equality, you can use the opposite operation to undo a problem to get the variable by itself and solve the equation.